originally wanted to do was Story of Portal to Ascension with spoken word. So I'm going to do a shorter version of that because we only have 10 minutes. But the way I got into all of this, well, I was actually born in England. I moved here down the street to Irvine when I was 12 with my parents. My dad got a job transfer to McDonnell Douglas, which is the tallest building in downtown Irvine. And I was raised a Hindu, but I really didn't believe anything that I was told. You know, I mean, it's not that I didn't believe it. I just did what I was told because I was just a young kid, and my parents just say, just recite these prayers, and I didn't really think about who I'm talking to. I would just recite it over and over again. And I jokingly called myself in high school an atheist Hindu because, you know, I really didn't believe anything. I just did what I was told, rites and rituals, right? And when I was 18, in 2000, I graduated, went to Cal State Fullerton. Finally, I was around people from all over the world. I was hearing music from everywhere. I got into the band called Tool. It was my favorite band for a while. Followed them on tour up the coast. And I started writing poetry, like just writing spoken word poetry pieces. And in the poems, there would be like words like universe, intergalactic, you know, terms like that. But I had no real understanding of any of what we're talking about now. So one day, I go to I don't even know if YouTube was YouTube around in 2001? Okay, so anyway, I went to the internet and I searched the keywords of the poems that I was writing. I put parts of my poems into the search engine, and I found videos from Jordan Maxwell, Nassim Haramein, and Jim Self. And then within a year, I found other videos from William Henry by 2002. And William Henry had, when Netflix came out, William Henry was on Netflix, so I was watching all of his stuff. And I was realizing that a lot of the poems I was writing were actually real life stories of creation stories of different religions, but ultimately the Anunnaki story, that whole concept would come up over and over again. But the concept of vibration, density, why we're here on this planet was a key component to the poetry that I was writing. So then for 7 years, from 2001 to 2008, I was deep into the conspiracies. When the swine flu came out in 2006, 2007, I was the one who ordered a gas mask from the internet, and I had it like hidden in my room, and my sister was in UCSD, and I was telling her to come home because there's swine flu in Mexico, you know? And 2 months earlier, on Alex Jones' show, I heard a guy that was a truck driver driving from Mexico to New York, and he said he was taking a virus from Mexico to New York, and the virus was going to be released in New York, but they were going to blame it on the Mexicans, and then he was going to Maryland to live in an underground base because there was going to be an epidemic on the planet. So I completely believed it. 2 months later, it happens, right? So I was deep into the fear. But all of this aspects of consciousness, everything was in my poetry. It was in everything I was learning. Jim Self was talking about the light body Merkaba and transcending to other realities by rotating your light body at 3/4 the speed of light. So I was into the spiritual stuff, but I was like deep in fear, right? And then in 2008, I was at an open mic in Fullerton, California, in downtown Fullerton, the day I met my future wife, and I was actually presenting at my friend's open mic. And when I was presenting there, like he went up on stage and he started singing this song called My Name is Love. And I was in this place where I was really hardcore into like the Illuminati's got us, like the reptilian agenda, right? I mean, back then I would be going to bars frequently, but not that frequently. I wasn't a drunk or anything. But I would be the guy at the bar being like, aliens, and there's a 12th planet in our solar system, and it's rotating at 3,600 years. You got to check this out. I was really pushing it onto people. But there was one thing missing. And in that moment, I realized that the one thing missing was love. So in 2008, Portal to Ascension was created. 2 years prior, in 2006, the group 2012 Consciousness, Mind, Evolution, and Presence was what I created at first because I wanted to realize more of this information. So people were joining, tens of thousands of people started joining. I created a group for UK, I created a group for Canada, I created a group for New York, for Portland, for Seattle. I was creating all types of groups. And then I created a fan page. And then 2 years later, in 2008, when I realized it was all love, I was driving down MacArthur Boulevard right here. I was going down the street, about to go to the beach, and I had a dream the night before, and I was figuring it out in my head, and I realized that the new name for my group would be Portal to Ascension. So literally, the reason why we're here now at the Portal to Ascension Conference, right here in the middle of Irvine, is because not even like 1 mile away from here is where the word Portal to Ascension came from. My family's house is 2 miles down the street. My high school is 1 mile the other way, right? So I wanted to really, it was really a full circle experience for me to bring this back here last year, to be like, okay, after all this spiritual evolution, after going to the darkness, being triggered, being the victim, and then being overly empowered to the point of like, everything is love and light, to this neutrality point that I'm at now. And I'm like, okay, like, let's go back and heal, everything that happened in the first place. So as this was going on, I got so into the story, I forgot the spoken word. But as this was going on, the poems that I was coming up with were just evolving as well. So I'm going to do a couple of spoken word pieces right now and I'll tell you when I wrote them. Like, the first one was wrote in 2006, and this was written when I was deep into conspiracies, but also like, universe, what's next, So this is called The Ascension. The road goes on for generations. The travelers would disperse their light amongst all the willingly incarnated souls. But what if the ones who didn't know? Amnesia of the internal endowment to reserve a place in the fifth dimension for themselves. The ego took control in a better life they shall never know. I welcome you, dark one, into the lap of luxury followed by pain and woes. We all sold our souls to the devil, but the devil exists not. Negative energy redoubles evil, creates the demons who are fearful. Take the D from the demon, put from the word evil, and now you have a personified devil. Our thoughts and experiences creates this creature only exists in the mind. Our desires and wants creates this full feature ego that keeps our lower souls from reason divine. Intellect. Love and a perfect understanding we will have with one another. I welcome you, my brother, my sister, my lover, to become one, to help me become one, before reality turns me from duality and back into ether's imagination. You see? I'm the ghost of lives past. Generations have descended to gain these experiences, and I pray the human situation, the critical, mind analytical, won't let me forget the fall of angels and demons in this third-dimensional world. Is this planet yours? May I hide amongst the lost souls? Hide out for a bit, drink some liquor, smoke some weed, and step outside for a cigarette? Yeah, sure, man, here's a social security card. You may live, reincarnated to kid to live, getting back to the society of my locked borders. But I smote over through the actions comes a horde of abstract thought. Who's not a ghost of spirit, but just is an enlightened individual. Equality minus elitist political goal, the cynical flow, the pain and woes and shamanistic pagan rituals. We will resurrect the Messiah in all of us. It's time to trust our brothers and sisters. Unity of mind, conscious awareness on the rise, the yin-yang intertwined, masculine feminine livers intertwined, still worse than the chakra points in my spine, relentless but still find inner peace on the place of my corrupted mind, chemtrails, aspartame, fluoride, keep my awareness fried, getting drunk and high, but the cost question why am I really here? But now I know it's to help humanity steer into the right direction. For every single one of you, I feel affection. We're in the same situation, so erase the awkward moments, trying to walk around and get that bonus. Remember the Arcturians will be one of the group of interdimensional beings in the near future. The mass science will help us really breathe. So raise your frequency if this is what you want to see. And don't try to break free from the shackles and captivity that we formed in our own mentality, because you and I, we are, and we've always been free. Thank you. Thank you. So when I started doing poetry, I was doing at coffee houses and bars for like 6 years. I went to England 2 years ago for my grandma's funeral, and I decided to try to pull a hat trick of open mics. So every night after I was like hanging out with my family, I would go to an open mic, and every time it was one like a dive bar in England, and I was spitting this stuff, So it was like, it took a while, like 8 years before I actually was in a crowd of people that understood what I was saying, But it was interesting because obviously I'm saying what I'm saying, and there's 40 people in the audience that have no idea of anything I'm saying except for maybe fluoride, right? But then afterwards, people are just like, whoa. And so it's more about the frequency of what the words are, But I feel super blessed to finally be able to create events where I can actually say these to people that are into these topics. So as time progressed, in 2008, I created Portal to Ascension. We started with one small meditation event at a place called Ginger's Garden in Costa Mesa that no longer is around, and she's passed away. And she gave us the opportunity to have a free, huge event space, fit 100 people in, and experiment with events. So at that point, in 2009, I connected with Laura Eisenhower, and the first 10 events Laura Eisenhower ever did were my productions. And then I connected with Mike Barra, connected with William Henry in person. So all these people that I listened to or had been into, I started going to events, connecting with them, getting the email addresses, and be like, hey, let me produce an all-day event for you, right? So that happened up until 2010, where we took 2 international tours. I'm calling it international because we went to Canada. On extraterrestrial channeling. My friend that you guys both know, Brad Johnson. So you guys don't know, Jason and John, that the first 60 Portal to Ascension events were Brad Johnson Adronis channeling events. So we took him on tour up and down the coast. He was on his computer in Victoria Island in Vancouver area, and I said, hey, why don't you start doing live events? And he's like, I don't really do anything, I just do videos. So we took him on tour. We started doing opening sound healings. Hey, Portal to Ascension production. Hey guys, I'm gonna do a sound healing. And then we'd be like, okay, now we're gonna do a Q&A with a guy from Sirius, right? So that's how we started in 2010. And in 2012, we had 2 events. Cosmic Reunion 2012, Cosmic Reunion 4th Density. Bashar was the headliner of one of our first events, but that was the milestone where I realized, whoa, these groups are becoming so huge. What if I created huge conferences? Maybe people show up. So then we did it and people started showing up. However, on the second one, we didn't do too well. We got evicted from a place that couldn't afford rent. And then we went on the road, started doing, my wife and myself started doing events on the road, and it was very uncomfortable. She even said, she was like, I didn't sign up for missionary work. So that's an ongoing thing. It's like we were missionaries for a while. Like I was just like, we got to tell the world, right? And now I've taken a step back. It's more about like, I'll tell you what I know, but I won't have an expectation if you shift yourself or not, because that just sets me up for like sadness if you don't, if I have that expectation. So 2012, all the way up until now, we've been growing. 4 years ago, we created an online university that you all have access to because you attend here, where we have 10,000 freaking hours of conscious footage archived in by speaker, by beautiful thumbnail, by category, by topic, where you can browse. You can even stop. It's just like Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube combined. I took the best of all of them and created my own platform. And now we have this resource as a one-stop shop for consciousness. So what Portal to Ascension represents is a one-stop shop for all things conscious, so that when we get to, as people are waking up, it took me 18 years to get to this point. It's taking other people 2 days, 6 months, because the energy shifting. People are waking up now. People are already unlocked, right? So I'm meeting people that just like, oh, when did you wake up? 6 months ago. But they know all of this stuff because internet, Facebook, there's so much out there. So we are also that solution. We are the one-stop shop where you can go and learn anything from conscious nutrition, sacred sexuality. We have a free online conference coming up called Claim Your Life Force. It's about sacred sexuality and claiming your own life force. We have the Weaponization of Food conference coming up. So now at this point, we're at 110 events a year. Online, live, in person, tours globally. We work with many people. Some people, I'm not going to say the names of every person in my agreements, but some people we would do all production. Some people we do 3 a month, right? So we've created a platform for people, for conscious presenters that they didn't even know until we existed. So now they're like, they can just show up and do their thing, but then the marketing, the everything else that they shouldn't have to do because they're just in the creative element, we do for them, right? So this goes into a poem that I created in 2012, and it's called Atlantis. And this, you can kind of see in here, is more of a shift in myself of, this is post 2012 actually. It's like, I think it was like, no, my baby will correct me later. This was before 2012 because I knew this before that she was there. But anyways, it's still valid. It was a time when I was realizing that we are all one. This BS victimization needs to be shed, and let me see how I can empower myself. So are we one yet? Going back to source. No remorse when reinforce the course that we all endorse. Unconditional love. The highest vibration, a gift from above. Desolation of separation, we must be the ones to say this is enough. The third dimension, man, it was meant to be tough. There is no captivity, so unlock the cuffs. Move away from hate and begin to trust. No more anger or lust. Our thoughts just the earth's crust into a straight axis, just like in Atlantis. Stop causing damage and learn to manage. Self-realization. When people start to vanish when we change our intentions and join the like-minded souls in the 5th dimension. This is the beginning of our oversoul mission. What is it that you envision for the future incarnations? The Christ consciousness has arisen. Tear the perception of being in a prison, this industrial system, some of our opposites. Duality where we get lost and forget how to circumvent and achieve liberation. The curiosity won't last for long at all. As we move to the aquatic age, break free from the third-dimensional cage of limitations, Freemasons being misplaced in this illusionary reality, governing authorities, there will be no more war. Co-create a love ambassador, open the doors. Life isn't supposed to be a chore. No getting on your knees, worshiping entities from the floor. The message is simple, man, we don't need to know anymore. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with one last poem, and this one actually I did perform on our first date, or the night before our first date, and the second day, which was technically our first date, we went and volunteered at Project Climb-A-Lot Awake and Aware Conference at the Hilton, 4 minutes away from here, right next door, which is another synchronicity. And this one is called Astral Travel, and listen to the words. I know I spit a little fast, but this is about how I came to this planet and where it came from. Astral travel. Vibrating high at the center of the galaxy, rematerialized etheric matter dropping in density, increasing in complexity. To the ends of the spiral I should go. Planets form all around, I see a water world in the system of soul. My soul speculate in this illusion, a space made of skin, into a polarized reality of duality, consciousness and sin. Carbon base will join the crystalline children. I slowly descend through the ozone, will be born soon, so I enter a womb, birth cycle almost ends. See, I rode the unity wave into this dimension, a fabricated fallacy, I forgot when time became linear. Masculine base society suppressing her, feminine energy creating stargates and other etheric tools, going through the wormhole, spinning around like a whirlpool, here to overrule the external in this earth school. From my eyes that finally lifted the wool, I reincarnated into this planet November 17th, 1982. Thank you guys. Thank you. All right, so I appreciate you all so much. Thank you all for being here. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. We're gonna go to lunch right now, and we have the extraterrestrial and consciousness panel coming up in an hour, which is going to be epic. So see you guys then. Bye.